Hey everybody, welcome to What About the Game. Today I'm going to be talking about Don't Knock Twice on the Nintendo Switch. Before we get into the review, please consider clicking that subscribe button because that would help me out so much and you can help this channel grow into something bigger and better. Okay, let's get on with it. The season of Halloween is just about upon us, which, as sure as the sun rises, means a slew of horror games will be heading our way. The first for me is Don't Knock Twice, a psychological first-person horror game from Wales Interactive. It was originally released on PC with a special inclusion of VR support. As this is the Switch version, obviously that feature has been taken out, but the main game is still intact. You as the protagonist are placed inside a spooky old mansion, as per the genre standard. The story is told through messages laying around the house, as well as via text messages from a person called Chloe. It's not long until the pieces of the puzzle are put together. I actually really love the idea of the story revolving around Chloe, her estranged mother, as well as some missing local children and an old folklore tale. It's really quite good to be honest, and is for me the best part of the game. Now, as a bona fide wuss when it comes to horror games, I always go into them with a bit of dread. And the main question that comes up about horror games is it scary? Well, maybe I'm not the best person to judge since even the original Resident Evil shits me up to this day. I think it's more the tension and your character's vulnerability than the actual horror on show that gets to me, and in that regard, I didn't find Don't Knock Twice all that scary. Mainly for the fact that there's very little in the way of threats for the most part. A lot of the game is highly psychologically based, with banging noises, atmosphere, and the occasional jump scare, rather than actually being in danger. I think Don't Knock Twice is stronger in its narrative rather than its scares. The pacing and intrigue of the story are often more powerful, and it'll certainly stay with me longer. As I look back on the game a year from now, that's what I'll remember more. Yes, there are some creepy visuals and jump scares, but no true horror. Saying that, as one of the very few horror games on the system, with the only competition from games such as Vaccine, it's definitely the scariest one on the system so far. Sadly, there's not a lot of replayability. With its linearity, you see more or less everything the game has to offer in one playthrough. There are few worthwhile secrets or collectibles, or a new game plus, so to speak. It's not particularly a negative, as I know from my own experience, not everybody wants or has the time to replay games. You just need to keep that in mind for what you require as a gamer. It's a one-time playthrough only. Especially as the shocks and the story, the game's main pull, will have all been seen and don't need to be seen again. Quite a sad part is the length, which you may be able to stretch out to 2 hours, but probably less, depending on how stuck you get, and that could be a killer blow for people. I'm not usually one to complain about small bugs or glitches, but I really fell foul of some glitches in Don't Knock Twice. In one section of the kitchen, you can pick up axes that are essential to making it through to the next part. Unfortunately, both axes glitch through the floors and cupboards when placed down, making it impossible to pick them up again. At first, I just thought I was stuck on a puzzle trying to find an exit. Little did I know that an axe was needed. I spent a good 20 minutes walking around the same small room looking for any clue, until I gave up and looked online to find that the game screwed me over. Graphically, it's alright for an indie game on the Switch. The atmosphere and mood are nice and set the tone for a horror game well. It makes a welcome change from the retro sprites and simple 3D models that we're used to on the system so far. Unfortunately, the performance isn't the best, as I did notice the frame rate was a little lacking. The sound design is pretty decent, with knocks and atmospheric noises being essential to the experience. Overall, Don't Knock Twice is an okay horror game for the Switch. It's missing its VR features, which was honestly one of its main selling points, but it sort of fills the gap that hasn't been filled so far, but it certainly has the potential to be eclipsed in the near future. It's a little light on scares and frights, mainly due to the very short length, so it's not a recommendation from me. Horror fans may want to give it a try though if it's on sale. Okay guys, if you've enjoyed this review, then be sure to like and subscribe. That will help me out. You can read the full review of Don't Knock Twice at whataboutthegame.com, and you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter if you want to. All the links are below. Thanks guys, bye bye.